Hey kids, happy Monday to you. Look who's here. He could have left. He had every opportunity. The door was wide open, but he chose to sit in that chair and not move. What are you doing? What's up? What's going on? What's shaking? Today is Calgary gets Connor Bedard Day. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Oh, it's actually rather a simple solution. I mean, they just have to move from 16 to
Yeah.
6 and then hope that 5 teams
Trade up something.
No,
Yeah,
no, hope
I'm
5
sure.
teams just go in different directions.
Yeah, pass.
Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, like
I-
last year, right? The
Yeah.
projected number 1 fell,
hmm
right?
I thought Treliving made a horrible mistake. So what if you would, dude? You could have won the draft
You could
lottery.
have won the draft
Right before you
lottery.
get Bedard, you quit.
Yeah.
What a silly goose.
Oh my gosh. It just seems like you're going at the wrong time.
Yeah. Well,
Happy
happy lottery day.
lottery day to you. You gonna watch tonight?
No.
No?
You know what? Yes, because I was talking to the other guys. People complain about the All-Star game and outdoor games and all this. This is truly the worst one of them all, right? Because you have a broadcaster and then ex-players and executive that don't want to be there. They don't want to
Oh
be
no, this
on
is
there.
other duties as required.
It is horrible,
Right.
horrible television. And because of that, I must watch, I guess, just to
Well, of course. Why if they're
Yeah.
putting in the effort? At least we can do is watch.
yeah. No, it. Do you agree? Like it's the worst.
Um,
In terms of a
I don't know.
Oh.
These generational player ones are interesting. Like I hated the outcome of the McDavid one, but the McDavid one was must watch,
Yeah.
right?
I like the one, was it last year or 2 years ago when Jim Nill was on there and I'm picking 17th, the Dallas Stars. You could see him like click off his
Yeah.
webcam. He was all pissed off. So,
Yeah.
screw it, click.
Yeah, but I like that.
Yeah.
Right? Give me that.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I mean, we're not that. Well, we are that far removed. I mean, we're both old enough to remember
Easy.
Crosby,
Steady.
right?
I remember
And
that
Brian
one.
Burke.
Yeah, that day you'll like this one.
Yeah.
Because I was in Winnipeg at
Mhm.
my soon-to-be sister-in-law. Well, no, I guess she was already my sister-in-law. Anyway, her wedding,
Mm-hmm.
and we were in one of the rooms, and everyone's getting dressed and all that.
Sure.
And it was pick number 4 or number 3, and my mother-in-law's like, "Okay, let's go. We don't need to watch. Do you have to watch this right to the end?"
Yeah.
Well, see, here's the thing about a lot of sporting events, and this one in particular. This one only gets really interesting at the end.
Yeah.
So yeah, I left before I even knew.
Yeah.
And back then, it's not like you just had I'll just call up my phone. You had some StarTAC trying to T9
Yeah.
people, and
Yeah.
But
Well, you remember, like, because Bruce Dobigan was in here a couple weeks ago, and him and his kid Evan wrote a book
Yeah.
about the drafts, the different ones, and I thought it was interesting that they started with 71, where the Montreal Canadiens acquired the pick for Guy Lafleur from Oakland or California, and that franchise went away. And then they finished, the last draft they looked at was the Crosby draft, which Pittsburgh won. And you will remember, and I don't think a lot of people do remember, it was touch and go.
Sure it was.
Like,
Which is why some people thought the fix was in.
right.
That this team's going to leave. Mario is
Yes.
waning, and they're going to have to lose this
Jim
team,
Ball
move this
Silly,
team.
he's going to get a BlackBerry. And no, where did he do the BlackBerry logo?
I don't know.
Remember he showed the logo? Was that
Yeah.
Nashville or
It
Pittsburgh?
might have been Nashville.
Right?
Yeah.
Remember when he was a thing?
Oh yeah. Well, you see, there's a movie out about it, a BlackBerry movie. Anyway, but you think
Yeah.
about what that means for tonight. Like that's the thing. There's the TV product and the entertainment value. I mean, it's whatever. But this is a massive day for some. You look at Pittsburgh and even Edmonton, new rink, jersey sales, cups, the whole 9 yards.
Well,
Some
and-
franchise is going to have the biggest booster cables.
Well,
look
and
to
that,
it you
all due
could.
respect to our good friend Gab, who's hosting the show. Like last week or whenever, well, I guess it was 2 weeks ago, that the Oilers on the Friday put out we really appreciate Calgary, and we hope that the province will shut up. You got McDavid. There's nothing the government can give you
That's
that will ever be as good as that.
You have Ice District, you
Yes.
have a rink, and you have McDavid.
Given
Bugger off.
Yes, given the Flames would gladly take Bedard over a rink deal.
There have been times when the disparity has been big. Doesn't it feel really big right now? Even though
Oh,
the Flames
yeah.
just kind of missed the playoffs and they won a round last year and all
Well,
that.
McDavid might not even be the best player in the world right now.
The GM, I'm out.
Yeah.
Coach, fired.
Yeah.
Team, no playoffs.
I know.
It feels like.
And that's what I mean. Like, yeah, I think you guys were talking about it. Exactly how good is Leon Draisaitl right now? Is he the best player in hockey today? No, I'm not saying. We know what McDavid is. We know what McDavid is, but my God,
he's the most highly skilled player,
Yeah.
McDavid, but it's amazing what Draisaitl is doing, and you keep waiting for him to tail regression, right?
Right.
And he just keeps scoring and scoring and scoring. And the goals they're not backdoor tap-ins. They're one-time.
No, yeah. It's
and I get
legit.
it,
It's all legit.
It's the power play, but still, that's
part of the game.
It's amazing.
Right? The power plays,
Yeah.
last time I checked, still part of the game.
Yeah, it's
right?
amazing. And I don't know. You wonder about still parts of their game, but man, even if that power play cools to what, 30%?
It's over 50% right now.
It'll just be how many opportunities do they get would be the.
Well, that's what you're going to venture into, right? Like you're
Yeah.
going to get so scrutinized on a power play or a penalty call against or for the Oilers, right?
Yeah.
That, well, they got 50% chance of scoring here. Should they really have called that? I hate this time of year because we get into all these, nonsensical, questions and
It's just
dumbest
the game,
thing
Rob, right? Like it's just the game.
dumbest thing I've heard was some guy on Elliot Friedman's podcast suggesting that maybe there should be a rule change because Ryan O'Reilly doesn't wear a visor and got cut. And if he had a visor,
it wouldn't be a penalty.
A penalty. So maybe we should look. That's how stupid things get right now.
Summit.
Time for a summit.
Hey,
like
need to
tomorrow night, Florida wins 4-0. Toronto goes in the sweep. Time for a summit, everybody. We better get everybody together.
This grandfathering of no visors, it's ruined the game. I can't even enjoy the game anymore with these non-visor wearing thugs out there.
Okay. Yeah. Which was a better visual for you this weekend? Vander Kane and do we call her a Karen? Because that's what the internet world seems to be calling her, a random Karen or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Is it that one, or is it Jokic yesterday and the owner of the Suns?
Yeah.
Goes flying, eh?
The woman's behind glass with the Kane one, but she is giving double
number ones,
double birds, and he's blowing the kiss, which is pure. It's a really great villain.
Oh, it's a very great villain.
Very good.
Yeah.
And on the other side, it's the owner who is taking the dive.
Thank you.
I respect it. It's like this. You have to suspend this guy. Did you see him shove me? Did you see what?
I went flying.
I'm the owner.
You can't do that to me. Do you know who I am?
Yeah. And I think you would have. I have to think there's part. I was like, that was pretty good. Like it's kind of in good fun, but he probably didn't really think it all through. It's a spur of the moment.
Where's the equivalent? Like, there's no equivalent to that, is there? In pro sport, there's
Vince McMahon getting power bombed through a table.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of.
The owner is getting,
because there's nothing going to happen in hockey.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
The only thing that could have happened, God bless him, and he's not here to defend himself, but as if Ken King ever got, had the domey thing in Philadelphia where he was banging on the glass in the penalty box and the glass gave way and he fell in.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of. So there's nothing in hockey. There's nothing in football. There's nothing in baseball. But here, the owner's like, the best would be if he came with a neck brace, right? The next game.
It would be very good. Very Paul Heyman.
Yes, show up with oh my gosh.
Yeah, it'd be very good.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. The Torts versus Hartley in the back alley there was that was pretty good. Different.
Oh no, that's great.
That was some behind the curtain.
But if you had like Aquilini in there or somebody or Murray,
Francesco.
and all of a sudden Murray goes flying,
Yeah.
right? Did you see what happened? Owner down. It just great visuals. Like it's that time of year, right? You get these great visuals.
Yeah. Are you enjoying the playoffs?
Yeah.
Hockey? Because I won't pretend to tell you I've been watching any.
Yeah.
Basketball.
As you get older, I think things become very routine. First round's awesome. Second round, it's almost like, there's this relaxation and all, well, you know what? We're going to win big. Now we're going to win big, right? Like, the Toronto thing is, again, something that seems pretty routine, expecting that. You look at that series and the Panthers winning there. You guys had an interesting conversation today about one of the mainstays on the roster of the Panthers, Mr. Bennett. Was it today or was it on?
That was last week.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
but it was that's Sam Bennett. And maybe you don't get him here. Maybe it just wasn't going to happen. And should he have gone to the American League? And could he work things out? But you thought, again, happy to be the villain, playing his role. He is playing center, which he never really got a lot of time at here. But it's tough when the highest draft pick in franchise history pans out.
By the way,
and again,
yeah,
being that high, he's not a third overall. I think that you would have expected more for a pick that high. But when he seems to meet his potential elsewhere, and you really didn't get much in return, even though the return was probably what we thought at the time pretty good.
Well, the return was more than anybody expected.
The whole thing, it's hard now when you see what Tkachuk is doing.
That's the one that's hard for me.
Bennett, and you wonder what if Monahan doesn't run into all these injuries and is still a 30-goal guy, because for a while we marveled at his shot.
Sure.
His hands in tight were some of the best in the league. And then Gaudreau, and you just keep going down the line. That's
the hard one to watch to me is Tkachuk. That was this playoff Tkachuk is not last year's playoff Tkachuk, right? And I think you go back to Edmonton and go back to Kane, and Kane just lived in his head rent free.
Yeah.
And this Tkachuk, this is the best, possibly going to end up being the best drafted player by the Calgary Flames of all time. I'm not saying the best player, but I'm saying the best drafted player, because Iginla and Lanny were not drafted by Calgary, right? And this guy is a superstar. Like
Chris Chucko would like a word.
He would he?
His brain, Tkachuk, it's at another level, because he's not a good skater.
Mm-hmm.
But you never see him laboring to get into the rush. He moves the puck when he needs to. Everything is done. And he's got great skill. That's not his hands. I remember when we would have Brian Burke on the old show.
Yep.
When the puck is in our zone and it needs to get out, Matthew gets the puck out. There's no turnover at the top of the circles. There's no trying to skate it out through three guys and turn it over. It's smart plays. And there's maturity, and there's just getting smarter and more comfortable. And maybe that playoff series, the disappointment, I'm sure he felt it too, on obviously team level, but on a personal level.
Yep.
Yeah, he's the heartbeat. And then all of a sudden, Bobrovsky from the ashes, you could never have expected.
Well, no, you were one of the guys talking about what a great story Lyon was, right? And he was. Like, without him, they don't get to the playoffs. It wasn't Bobrovsky that got them there.
Yeah.
Right. But now all of a sudden he's decided, you know what, $10 million, I should play for up to that.
Yeah.
Right.
I just didn't know he was capable of it.
Well, if he's capable of it, you knew he's capable of it.
But it's been, when's the last time? It was years, really, since we've seen him put up any kind of numbers. But
two or three. I mean, Spencer Knight came. Was it last year Spencer Knight kind of arrived on the scene?
Yeah, and I wonder too how much when you are overpaid, when your workload is lessened, and
you should talk to me about this, because I know all about it.
Yeah. When your workload is lessened and you're not really looking for it to be it's probably very difficult. And then the door opens a crack. Now you got to be that guy, and I don't know that I would have picked Bobrovsky, but you kick that in, and it's my time again. He must feel so good. It'd be great for any player to be for 6 in a row or whatever it is now, to be performing at that high of a level. But for him to be, you thought I was done? You thought I was done. Get a load of me. And now he's the toast of the town.
I wonder about playing down there. I wonder what that experience is like. Third period yesterday, the guy breaks in on Wall, and, give Wall credit. I mean, stepped into the breach. I thought he was fine. And all of a sudden tries to go between the legs. I'm like, well, why is there's Tkachuk. And so it wasn't. It was Bennett.
Yeah.
Now Bennett's doing that stuff. And like you say, Bobrovsky rises from the ashes. Like, there's an advantage to playing. I mean, nobody comes to watch him during the regular season. Nobody cares once they are gone. But right now, life is good in South Florida.
And for Tkachuk, as Flames fans probably hate to hear it, everything worked out for him. I don't want to. I guess I'm a villain in Calgary, but I just am not going to want to sign there long term.
Yeah.
And players, if you're of a certain skill level, you can kind of call your shots. Adam Fox did it. There's another guy. Throw that guy into the mix. What if he's a Flame?
Well, I said that, and I don't know. Are you familiar with the social media people? They're interesting because I said, just what's the conversation if we're having about Brad Treliving's legacy if Adam Fox is with the Flames and
Up for and
nominated
winning
Norris
Norrises as a
trophies
Flame,
and stuff
yeah.
like that. And of course, the internet people told me that everybody knew he wouldn't come here. So, we couldn't have any fun with that.
Yeah,
But you drafted him. Nobody else drafted him, right? Everybody else had a crack at him. They all passed. So you're saying that there's, what, in that particular draft, you regret not taking Adam Fox, a Norris Trophy winner, because you got a kid just on the cusp in Syracuse that might break through? Everybody had a chance at him.
I think maybe a year or two after the draft, you could argue that he's not interested in coming. But when he was 18 or whatever he would have been at that time,
sure,
I'm not sure he was at a skill level where he could say, Canada, not for me.
See, Ryan Pike's coming on, and I brought this up with him last week, and I don't think he buys it at all. I think one of the biggest issues that needs to be addressed by the next general manager, and quite honestly, by Murray Edwards and ownership and by John Bean and management, is what are you doing to keep players here? Because that's an issue now. That's an issue. Could you have kept? I don't know the answer, Boom. But could you and I have an argument that you could have kept Matthew Tkachuk had you made him the captain and there was a new building on the horizon? Would that have been enough to sway him?
With him, I don't think so.
Okay, fine.
Just because, and I really have nothing else, really nothing concrete to back it up other than just talking to people. And I don't think it makes him a bad guy. I just think here's an American-born guy. Hey, I would play in St. Louis. I would love to play there. He has no connections to Canada. But
Craig Conroy's an American-born guy, and he stayed.
I know, but everyone's different. And everyone's
everybody's different.
Look at Tkachuk's brother. He went to. I'm led to believe that Brady is kind of like mom. Matthew's kind of like dad.
Sure.
You're going to work for who pays you, and if you have a chance to call your shot, you're gonna. I think the one thing you could have done is if you would have given Matthew all of the money before the bridge deal coming out when he was 20 or 20. He would have been 20, I guess, at that time.
But maybe that's what you have to do moving forward, and maybe that's part. But I think you have to address the you draft them, get to keep them concept. Right. And if you draft them, they're going to come here. I'm sorry. You want to come to Calgary as a free agent? Great. We're going to take you out to Banff. Why? Oh, it's gorgeous out there. We're not going to show you the rink. We're not going to show you the dressing room. There's nothing in there that's going to push you over the edge.
Yeah.
Right. Now, new building, that's a different story. I grant you that. But at some point, I think I'm old enough to remember the Canadian Equalization Fund and what a pain in the ass that was and how difficult it was to recruit guys to stay. And I think we're going down a different version of it. Yes, you can pay him the same amount of money, but why, Michael Backlund was born in Sweden, but he's chosen to live here. I don't buy there was an old cranky, grumpy guy that used to be in our business that bitched and moaned about American players all the time. Oh, they'll never sign. They'll never sign. They'll never sign. I just think that's a cop-out. I really think that's a cop-out. I think if you put players in a position where they want to be here and you show them you're not going to be a muddling team, you got a plan, you got a building, the fans demand a lot, but the athlete's supposed to want that.
We talked about this last week. Remember, there was a time where if you were a free agent, you would love to go to Detroit to be a Red Wing. Why? The Red Wing way.
God, are you kidding me?
The whole thing.
Sure.
Detroit is not a nice place to live. Joe Louis was a dump, right? But having that culture of winning and here's how we do it.
Edmonton can get players now that they could never get before.
Yeah. That's what's missing here. And it has been for a while.
Guess 40 years could have got them.
Yeah. Is sustained playoff runs, victories, kind of that.
They're fair to Midland. They're always fair to Midland. Safe as death. That's John Tortorella's thing from 2004, but safe as death. And that's the one thing that I think the new general manager and ownership and everything need to address. This can't be about not offending people and not patting your, there's got to be a swagger here. Like you've got to get a chip on your shoulder around here about whatever, but you got to make these kids want to stay here. Like, I'm sorry. How good is Tkachuk right now? And could he have been that here? There's no reason to think he couldn't have been that here. I don't know.
And then you start to have a few of those guys kicking around, then it's cool for other guys to be there too. And I know when we look back and it's this Huberdeau contract that hasn't kicked in yet, and Brad has to wear it, right? He signed him to this mega contract extension.
Can I make a a defense on that?
I think people forget how first you couldn't extend the old core, Monahan, Gaudreau. You couldn't keep those guys because you had to break up the core.
Yeah.
So then you had to move on. So you've moved on. Now this guy, no one wants to stay. Here was a guy that was going to stay.
Absolutely.
He is a star player. He's just had a career year.
Absolutely.
And is it extreme? Yeah. But I did kind of, and I don't know if it's actually, if it's a good one. I kind of use the rationale, at least this is how my brain works. Say you're buying a house and we're in the market, say $500,000. That's our budget. Well, this one's $525,000. Ooh, it's a little bit out of our range, but yeah, okay, we can swing that $520,000. You know what? The one over here is $540,000. That's kind of like $525,000. Well, $540,000, you were ready to pay $8-9 million to Gaudreau. What 9? Well, then what's 10? You were, I think, for fans, for everybody, you were already in that mindset, that space of spending $10 million on a star.
Sure.
So when this guy's here, well, he's a star.
Yeah.
He'll stay for the 10 million. Then give him the 10 million.
Yeah.
If Johnny won't take it, give it to him. Okay, good, done. Then it's 10 million a year. Yeah. It's a lot.
But not by the end of this contract. By the end of this contract, it'll be normal. By the end of this contract, it'll be normal. I've done this enough. My God, he's getting $1 million.
I know.
But right? Oh, my God. It's crazy to me that the 0405 lockout, really, the fuse was lit on that on, it's on the tip of my tongue. The Rangers paid him 9.5 in the late 90s.
Bobby
Holik. It was the Bobby Holik contract that lit the fuse that ended up causing a year of hockey to go away. That lit the fuse. He was getting that, and that's in the 90s.
Yeah.
And even today, that would be a high contract, right?
Didn't they sign Drury the same day? I think.
Oh, yeah. The book's called Money Players. Bruce Tobin wrote it. Go read it. No, I will defend Tree because I think what he did had more to do with, or less to do with hockey and more to do with psychology. And I think this organization was effed because they just watched their two best players walk away. And I was in that building. It had nothing to do with the Flames, had nothing to do with ticketing, but I can tell you that it was a morgue, that it was death, that it was everybody's fault. And I can tell you, those poor kids in customer service, they got their asses chewed out by fans. How dare you? Why does this happen? The crazy thing is how amazing. I didn't realize that almost every single Calgary Flames season ticket holder is a lawyer or married to a lawyer, and they were going to sue. Like, you go through that whole thing, right, with customer service. What Tree did was single-handedly calm the waters, bring everybody back down, and go, it's going to be all okay. Now, did we get overconfident? Yes, we did. Will it be proven out? Perhaps. But if he doesn't make that move, if he doesn't do that, you might have had 6,000 people in that building this year, Boom. That may be an overreach, but that's what I feel. Like, you watched two of the best players you will ever draft walk away from this organization. And the one took less and a year less. $15 million left on the table to go to Columbus, Ohio, because there may or may not be a really good children's hospital for his wife to work at.
And you strip it a little bit further is knowing that the story there is that he wanted to stay. He almost stayed to the point that he's back. The owner is trying to get him on the phone. Hey, congratulations on coming back and signing the extension. And then things go sideways.
Right.
So from Treliving's perspective, it was a horrendous kind of first you get bombed out by the Oilers.
Yep.
Then Tkachuk wants out. Then Gaudreau doesn't come back. Yeah, it doesn't justify it, but I see it. You needed a win. You needed a PR
that's
win.
A great way of putting it. You needed a win. And if you didn't have that win, you know, knowing what we know now, if you didn't give Huberdeau the contract, I'm not sure anybody at this juncture would have cared. But they all cared a year ago.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
they all cared, a while ago.
Because then
10
why did
months.
you do this deal when you just saw these two players leave? All these two are going to do in a year is leave too.
Correct.
Uyghur and Huberdeau, they're
Correct.
unrestricted. They're just going to leave.
Correct.
So it felt like you, with the asset of Tkachuk, you'd still rather have Tkachuk, but you got
Yeah.
these two players. But now
I
that asset goes on. There's still.
I really wish people would apply a more 360-degree view to these conversations, because it's real easy to sit here and say, well, I wouldn't have given him that. Cool. Sit in that desk, hear the calls, talk to the people, deal with the pressures that are there. It's a real world thing. Like, you can play fantasy GM, no problem.
Yeah.
But there's a real world GM. And I don't think he gets enough credit for what he did for this organization last year. Because if he didn't do it, I don't think, I mean, I think it's not about leaving town or whatever, but it could have been into a nosedive in a hurry.
And
right?
you never know what the external pressures are too. And not to suggest that there was, but what if ownership says, listen, sign this guy. We're taking a kicking here in the court of public opinion.
That's the business.
No one wants to be here.
Absolutely.
Well, we can sign him, but it's going to be this. Sign him.
I find it a little. I find a lot of the announcements are now very much timed, and God bless the people that make those decisions. But this club was taking it up the chute right after the season when they sent out renewals. People were sharing their renewal messages on social media.
Yeah.
They were sharing their responses on social media. It was not healthy. You needed to change the narrative. You just had your GM say, you didn't fire your GM. Your GM said, I don't want to be here anymore. You were rejected by the GM.
Yeah. And you know what? And I know that I think it's the kind of the point you're making is, I think anytime in business, in life, merit, work, school, whatever it is, sometimes you need that hard reset. Okay. Hey, what you're doing isn't working.
No.
Now there's your wake up. There's the kick. Now, how do you respond to it? Are you going to just kind of continue doing what you've been doing and see if now it's just going to steadily work its way back? Or do you need to shift gears and put a little bit more into it? So I don't know. It just feels like the time with so many contracts expiring at the end of next year. I just look at this team. You can't be.
How many of those would you bring back?
I don't think any right now, Rob.
You wouldn't bring Lindholm back?
No. How old is he? He's
the same age as Sean Monahan.
Get younger. Get younger now. Now's your chance. Don't give him 8 or 9 million and have him turn 32, 33, 34, 30. I have no doubt. I think that he can be a little Patrice Bergeron light. I think he's going to be a very good player until he's done.
You wouldn't bring Backlund back?
No. I think Michael Backlund has been a great Flame. Thank you for your service. We've lived up to our end of the bargain, as have you. Good luck in free agency. We need and what would you be paying him?
I'm just going off the top of my head. Is Dubé due?
He signed 2 summers ago.
Or is it Mangiapane that's due?
Yeah, no, Mangiapane signed last.
Yeah,
anyway,
it's 7 guys. I know that.
Yeah, so I mean, Tanev.
Yep.
Lindholm, Toffoli.
Toffoli. That's what I think it was.
And well, then you got to replace him. Yeah, you do, but other teams do it. Other teams do it.
But remember, we started this conversation before about, should we have let Bennett go?
But he was 24, 25 at the time.
Yeah.
For me, it's just an age thing, because you watch the playoffs right now and you watch New Jersey work and you watch the Kraken work. It's a lot of young teams out there. It's guys, and Warner was rolling through the ages this morning. I think of the Panthers is 25, 27.
The Flames were like the second oldest team, were they not this year?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, something in that.
And there's a couple guys that'll tilt that, obviously, when you have Lucic or Lewis or whatever. But there's an opportunity here where you don't need to send guys to other teams plus a pick to get a cap off your book. It's just contracts.
Oh no. And I don't think
expiring.
And I don't think you should keep 7.
Which is not to say you don't go back into free agency and get somebody else to replace a Backlund. Like, you're going to need centers, obviously. And I don't think that Ruzicka's ready to take on a second line role.
Part of it, the Backlund ones is kind of personal for me, because I think here you very rarely can you ever draft, develop play and retire a player in the same organization.
Oh, I like the story, and I have not always been a Backlund guy. The last 5 years, he should be. He should be a career Flame.
Yes. And that's where I come on that one. Lindholm, I'm there for you. But part of me is, are you going to play the kids? Are you? Because to your point, was it Daryl not playing the kids, or was it the owner not playing the kids? What are the marching orders here?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, that's, to me, is one of the biggest parts of this. This is the first summer that I ever remember Murray Edwards' name being written in as many columns as it's been written in. And I credit the Flames. They've done such a marvelous job of training us in the media to avoid talking about, we never ask for the owner. We never bring up the owner. We always talk about the team from the general manager, the president hockey operations down. But it's quite obvious this summer that what ownership's direction has been for this organization is an issue. Good, bad, or indifferent. It is an issue. Is it not? Am I wrong about this?
I think so. I think what's ordinarily very commendable, we spend right to the cap, we give you full budget, we want to make playoffs every year.
Yes.
That sounds like something that's it's just not realistic. It's just not, you wouldn't run every business that way. Here,
but to me,
set the ultimate goal,
Yeah.
and then
But
that and only that is how we build.
But remember, this is a business. Remember, this is a business. And it goes back to my 360-degree view of this stuff. You can be a fantasy GM, knock yourselves out. It is not a fantasy world. It is a reality. And I go back to, if Tree does not sign those two guys, and he doesn't make the trade, whatever, he doesn't get those guys, financially, business-wise, renewals, whatever you want to say, sponsorship would have taken a hit. And this whole bullshit, oh, Jesus, Ty, I saw you yesterday. I said I wouldn't do that. I apologize, Ty.
Sorry, Ty.
No. But I'm sorry, there's no rebuild. I'm not allowed to say rebuild. Sorry, it's on the table. It has to be on the table.
Yeah.
Right? It has to be on the table. What do you think? It's not chickens. Your season ticket holders aren't chickens. Everybody knows what it means. But the reality of that, though, even if you go through 2 or 3 years, you are not going to sell as many tickets. You are not going to sell as many premium products. You are not. But the hope is that when you get out of that, you're good. And I go back to, Edmonton, screw off. You don't get government money. You got McDavid, and you're going through this. You're selling stuff. Your revenue's out through the roof. You're okay, right? That's what you're hoping for. Yeah. You're hoping that you get out the other end and you can create that jersey revenue or that merchandise revenue, retail revenue, that sponsorship. People want to be aligned with you. It is a business.
The thing of it is, though, the word rebuild, I feel like it's almost being interpreted as acceptable losing. We're going to accept losing. No. It's like it's a refresh, as you would in any business. So maybe it's a new logo. You're going to renovate your showroom at the car dealership. Remember when it was Olli Jokinen and Owen Nolan and Todd
which go
Bertuzzi, and you know what I mean?
I do. It's always been,
and no one talked about it being a rebuild. But then all of a sudden, in comes Gaudreau and Monahan and some guy. This guy was a late pick, but look at him. The kids came in and they didn't suffer ticket sale.
Yeah, they did. They did for a short period of time. Yes, they did. They did not sell the same without Iginla. Iginla drove a lot. There's some people who believe Iginla drove as much in his prime as 20% of the income of the Calgary Flames.
Sure.
Right.
And I don't mean to say again, I just, that
I know
incarnation where they turned the page and let the kids play. And the fan base was like, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, but you did not make as much. Now, but the problem was the frickin' find a way Flame bullshit. Oh, Ty, I'm having a bad day. That thing screwed everything up because that changed everything. We're closer than we think we are. No, you're not. You're further actually away, right? You had unbelievable luck that we will never see again for a century, right?
Yeah.
Down 4-0 with 6 minutes to go in Ottawa. You score 4 goals and win it in overtime. Yeah, that's lucky.
I was trying to think, what was the one with Boston where the puck landed on top of the mesh on the net and then fell and then went in or something?
Brody
like
in overtime.
That's
Yeah, for sure.
Brody won in overtime.
Yeah.
I just look at this team now, and if you don't want to call it a rebuild, don't say rebuild. It's an overhaul of the roster, which doesn't mean we're going to go from 50 wins or 40 wins to 11.
I don't think
it's play younger players.
That to me is all this is. This is not a rebuild. but it's giving Wolf a spot. It's giving Peltier a spot. It's giving Dewar a spot. I would, I'm going to die on this hill. I'd go back to Matty Phillips and said, we screwed up. Here's a one-way, 1-year deal. Come in, let's play. Right?
Me too.
Right? Like,
yes.
and you know what? Poirier, get ready because you're not that far behind. And Zeri, get ready. You're not that far behind.
Shillington,
he's coming back.
welcome home.
Yeah. So that to me isn't a rebuild. It's not like you're going 18, 19. You're going 21, 22, 23.
Yeah.
Right?
I just wonder if that's what ownership hears when they hear rebuild. Because and your point is a good one. If I'm the owner,
yeah,
I love it. I love the Flames, but it's also a business. And if we go from 19,000 to 17 to 16 to 14 to oh, you know what, we can probably put the curtains up on the third deck because we don't use it anymore. It's like, shit, should we have just signed a free agent or two on July 1st? Should we have spent $8 million to keep 12 million? I don't know.
To me, it was all the guy that let the cat out of the bag was Feaster when he went on TSN after they traded Iginla and Bouwmeester the next year. And he said, and they're talking to him about a rebuild. He said, guys, my job is still to make the playoffs. Right. Yeah. It's still because there's money to be made in playoffs. Right. There's money to be made in playoffs. It is a business. But I would get down on my knees and beg Murray Edwards and beg the Flames owners to reconsider their threshold for,
to me, what it is
their risk tolerance. Because I think they're way too careful. I think they're way too scared.
Find your ultimate goal, not playoffs every year, the Stanley Cup. That's the ultimate goal. Now let's work towards that. And how do we get there? Not playoffs every year. Not,
but Murray would have told you, I just did my thing. I brought in the coach that can get us there.
It's just clear. It's clear now. How many since, remember, it was 89 to 04 and then 04 to there's not been a long line of playoff success here. The Kraken they're on a clip right now. The Vegas Golden Knights, there's a lot of these teams. It just isn't.
And that's the other thing, not to defend ownership here, but I think the reality is this is not a Calgary issue. There's lots of owners like Bill. You want to work for Bill Foley? Cool. I mean, they've almost had as many coaches as the Flames have in the last 5 years, right? And they've been in the playoffs. They've gone to a Stanley Cup final. Like, I get it. We remember when teams were reasonable, like 180 million, 200 million, and we were all going to win the 649. And what we're going to do, we're going to buy a team and we're going to run a team, right? That was always the dream, right? We were going to buy a team, right?
Had to have been bitching about something else then.
No.
Only one team was winning the cup every year then too.
Yeah,
there would have been some.
But to me, it's gone from the owner, the family owner, and everything like that to a business now. Yeah. The Calgary Flames are more about the arena district, and the Edmonton Oilers are more about the arena district and the brand representation and owning the properties and things like that. The hockey's part of it, and it's a huge part of it, but it's a business, right? It's not a passion. Like when Federic was here and Fateri, I always said that they didn't own the Stampeders, they held the public trust. And that's what I always thought ownership was. You hold the team in public trust. You don't own it, you hold it in public trust. It's a business. It's all business now.
Yeah.
And this is a business, Mark. For Christ's sake, we're on a business.
And if it goes too far the other way, where you do treat it like a hobby, or you're like Jerry Jones, right? It's a business, but should he be calling the shots, the football? I don't know.
No. And I always thought the guy I always looked at was Mark Cuban, right? Oh yeah, I'd love to have an owner like Mark Cuban. No, I'm good, thank you. I don't even know what the proper ownership is anymore. Is it Vinnick in Tampa? Is that what ownership should look like?
It wasn't the guys before.
Or who owns it now? Is it Vinnick?
Yeah, no. It's Jeff Vinnick.
Yeah.
But as far as the Flames,
certainly not the people who own the A's.
No, that's what a mess that is. But I feel for Flames fans right now. People ask, so is it Conroy, or what are they going to do? Is Jerome coming back? I don't know, but it's a big hire.
Do you have a problem with Stan Bowman?
Yeah.
Me too. When do I get to express that?
Anytime.
Oh, or should I wait?
I got asked about him and Quenneville last week.
Yeah.
And I said, I just feel there's way too much stink from what happened in Chicago. And you had a Bill Peters situation here that is still not that far in the rearview mirror. And I don't know, the Chicago team that won cups, was that not built before he took over? I'm not sure what Stan Bowman
No, I think he
really
had I
did.
think he had a role to play in that. I
I
mean,
don't know.
certainly. Why am I blanking? Went to former broadcaster, former Hawk. Went to Florida. I'm getting old. Boom. Dale Talon.
Yeah.
Dale Talon, and then Bowman came in and kind of got it to the next level, sort of thing.
But
But
didn't they'd already won that first cup, and you had, because
yeah,
that was Bufflin and Versteeg and Sharp and
yeah,
Kane and Taves and Seabrook
and
and
they let Talon go because he didn't put the right amount of postage on on
they missed the
right line
deadline.
on renewals
Yeah.
or something. Or
Well,
on,
I think what it was is they had to qualify their RFAs
that's
and
what it
then
was.
didn't. So then all of a sudden Versteeg and Fraser and Bufflin and all these guys were free to go.
Yeah,
Why do you have a problem with Stan Bowman?
because what he did to Kyle Calder, not Kyle Calder,
Beach.
Kyle Beach,
Yeah.
is it's wrong. And I'm sorry, second chances, absolutely. But if you're first, if it's win at all costs and screw humanity, I'm sorry. I still believe you can win with dignity. I can still believe you can win with morals and scruples. And if you're telling me that Stan Bowman can get me a Stanley Cup, I'd rather Craig Conroy, who I trust explicitly and is a good human being and would do things for the right reasons. I'll take that every time. At some point, you got to stand for something, don't you?
And I'm a big proponent for second guesses and making mistakes and learning from them. I think that you talk about the internet people, we're way too hard on people who make a mistake and we bury them and we pile on.
Oh,
okay,
yes.
mistake, but now how do they take that? What do they do with that?
Yes.
And maybe if you meet Stan Bowman, if there is remorse and if there has been stuff done, I win me over. Show me, win me over.
Oh, sure.
And but yeah.
But that to me, that one is inexcusable. The way that life was altered and changed and impacted with no regard, right? And what bothers me to this day, Boom, is how they still, right up until the last minute, that organization tried to, because of course, you know what they did the day the news came out. They hired 8 women for scouting roles and roles within the organization.
Yeah.
So everybody was praising them for being up. And I feel for those ladies because they deserve the opportunity. That's not the point. But it wasn't done for that. It was done to see, hey, look what the left hand's doing. Don't worry about the right hand. And I hate that. That's just as bad.
So you mentioned Conroy's name.
Yes.
You kick me out one. Are you ready? I'll go.
No, something buzzed. I thought it was you.
No.
Okay.
If Craig Conroy doesn't get this job, he has to leave, right? You can't sit as an AGM through another general manager's contract. And I'm not saying he should have been when Treliving was hired, but Treliving was here for a long time. Conroy has been molded and prepped for this job. When this job is now open and you don't get it, I feel like you have to leave and go somewhere else, regardless.
Yep. No. Yep. No. Yes, the logical part of my brain. Yes, he's a friend of mine, so I don't want him to leave town. But yeah, exactly.
I don't know why they didn't just install him. I don't know why.
I do know why, because I think if they had, they would have been criticized for.
By whom though?
Oh, the same people who criticized them, about everything. About, the Daryl Sutter thing became a story during the season because it became public and people were critical of it, right? You can't run an organization like that. If you just go back to internal, we're not that far removed from up in Edmonton and Kevin Lowe and Craig McTavish and Gretzky and Coffey and all of those sort of things. And there's a lot of people that hate that, right? There's a lot of people who say you got to cut the ties and you got to get the right people. I do believe you have to have a search. I absolutely do believe you have to have a search. But to me, I've said it on my program a number of times. My question is Craig Conroy right for Calgary? Is Calgary right for Craig Conroy? Because I think he's what else you supposed to do? What else can you do? What else could he have done? Right?
The thing with Conroy is if people are thinking that it's just another Treliving because they work together, not so. There were a lot of things that Brad did that Craig didn't agree with. And there were things that Craig thought should have been done that Brad didn't think should have been done. Not that they were polar opposite, but it's a differing of opinion, and that's what you want.
But that's what you want, right?
That's what you want.
So that's exactly what you want.
I think it would be great for Craig to get in there if he can allow him to do what he thinks should be done. Let his vision start to take place. I know that we're going to do a search and do our due diligence and all of that. I guess but where is the criticism going to come from where you have a guy who was a player for a decade and has spent another decade learning the ropes in your front office? No one knows the city, your farm system, the players. No one knows it better. And it's not as though he's not respected around the league, or he hasn't been an AGM, or he hasn't been to every World Junior, World Under 18, World Under 16. He's been to every corner of the hockey world. I just don't know who, and they'd be dead wrong if they were going to criticize him for not.
No, I think it wasn't him. I think it's the criticism of the organization. When's the last time the organization did a search for anything?
See, to me, this what they did, I criticize. This is janky.
What?
When you've got a guy in wait.
Yes,
that you can move into the GM's
you're
chair,
asking me to,
and you make him jump through hoops now?
But you're asking,
that's janky.
But you're asking me to, okay. I would have installed them day one too, but I understand why they didn't. Let's review. There was no wide
chicken shit.
There was no wide net. There was no wide net for True Living. There wasn't. They found that Burke went and got the guy he wanted.
He did.
Right? There was no wide net for Bill Peters. Right? Tree went and got the coach that he wanted.
Yeah.
There was no wide net when Ward took over. There was no wide net when Darryl took over. There was no wide net when Feaster got the job. There was no wide net with Brian Burke. There has not been a wide net. Like, do you think that there was a wide net when Brent got the coaching job?
I think there's a difference between.
Was there a wide net when Hartley got the job?
Being handpicked.
Yeah.
And Hartley was here because he was with Jay Feaster. Correct. And Jay wanted his guy.
Correct.
And the owner wanted.
But if you go through this process, if you interview Stan Bowman, if you interview Eric Tulsky, if you interview Mike Fuda, if you interview Brad Pascal, if you interview Dean Molberg, if you interview, and you come back and you go, Craig Conroy is it. To me, that's a far greater endorsement. And I think that's where they end up. But to me, then you don't get they didn't go get somebody. Because you and I both know this is not going to work perfectly at all times. There will be down times. So when the down times hit, they didn't go out and they didn't get an analytics guy. They didn't go out and they didn't get a players coach. They didn't go out and didn't get a hard ass, right? We can go through the list of all the different types. But to me, if you go out and you come back and you tell me, yep, we did it, and Craig Conroy's the guy, you covered all bases. That's how I look at it.
So then they'll be free of criticism if
they won't be free of criticism.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is that the people that are going to bitch and complain are going to bitch and complain regardless. So
but as a small business owner, I have a different perspective on this. As a small business owner, I feel like I need to do some due diligence. And I'm critical of this organization about the way they do business. So if they're about to do something which they have not done this. We just established that. I am not going to stand in the way. But if they go, we went.
Now, when you say done this, what do you mean?
What I just said, they have not done a search.
They've also not promoted from within to the general manager chair in a long time.
No, it'd be Al Coates.
Right?
It'd be Al Coates. And Peter Marr. Al Coates made the two most important trades in Calgary Flames history. Jerome McGinn and Robin Regeer.
If that's your measuring stick, pretty good.
Right?
They've not, as coaches, you take an assistant, Jim Playfair, that didn't work. But to graduate from within
why didn't that work?
I know.
Right? That deck was stacked too. Right? Because you're my assistant. You come in and do what I want you to do. And that's fine. You knew what you had in the general manager and the coach then, right?
Yeah. I hope it works out. I just feel from an observer to, yes, we have a couple of very good candidates, and you do. And I just don't think, and when you said wide net, I think there have been searches, and I think there have been difficulties in the past where you just weren't going to come here knowing the
No, the way
parameters.
No.
You were never going to have full autonomy. I'll trade whoever I want, whenever I want. Everybody has to go up the ladder.
You had to work for Ken King.
We talked to.
You had to work for Murray Edwards.
Yeah.
You had that was the way it was established, and that automatically took certain candidates out of the picture. But I do believe in the last decade or so they have been flying a little loose with the interviews, and I think Gulletson I think they did a fairly wide net on.
Yeah.
Right. I forgot about him, but I think they did a fairly wide net on him.
And I think depending on how you characterize wide net, there was a search when Jeff Ward came back, because and what are you going to say? Hey, this is our guy. This is perfect guy. That was not the answer that they were hoping for. There was no coach who was going to come here for the situation or the money. Jeff Ward would. So
no, that's a fair counter. That's a fair counter. I feel like I'm arguing with you for the sake of arguing with you. I'm the same way. Like, he's right here. And if for some reason, he got another job, and I'm talking about Craig Conroy, I think Pascal's got to be 1A.
Wouldn't you love to have your GM working right now?
Yeah, but
GM to be doing
he's
GM work right now.
Yeah, but if he's not, it's okay right now because the two AGMs are. Conroy was just scouting in Europe,
right?
And you've already put your draft to bed, and to be perfectly honest, what if you do go and hire somebody from out, they may not be able to run your draft, right?
Which is, again, why I think you give it to the guy you've been molding for this position for more than a decade.
I agree, but if we're gonna say we're gonna do a wide net, and if we're gonna do things the right way, go. But you're gonna come back with this answer, and then we can move on. And you're right to criticize him. If it takes a month or 6 weeks, we just lost 6 weeks. Yeah, I get it. I'm just glad that I really liked Maloney's press conference last week. I really liked it. Really, really liked it. I thought he looked good. I don't normally say that, but I just thought, his answers were good. And man, it is the next coach's job, or the next GM's job to pick their coach, right?
Yeah.
So I laugh a little bit at our, Mitch Love, this is why he should be the leading candidate. You can write him if you want him, but we don't know who the GM is, and the GM is going to play a large role in who the coach is.
Yeah.
We've solved nothing. I don't know if you know that.
Well, I don't know. Do I have to go?
No, you don't have to go. No.
I saw your clip from last week talking about, regardless of the coach, the pressure that has to ultimately now be on Jonathan Huberdeau. It has to be. You may not have won the struggle.
The internet people don't like it when you say things like that, right? Like, there was one, I wish I had it in front of me. I thought he quoted it right out of a 1950s gangster movie. Okay, pretty boy, if you don't do it,
we got to get you off the internet. That's what we got. We got to get you off Twitter.
And another guy goes, "Duh, of course they do." Okay, sorry, we didn't mean to insult your intelligence. But it's to me,
even if it isn't.
No, and
did you win the power struggle? No. Yeah, but no. Here's the thing: one of the major perceived stumbling blocks in your terrible season was your relationship with your coach. Well, all right. Can you get along with this guy? You better.
Well, mine was, and I never really articulated. My point really came from, I'm not angrier, but this is more of a finger point at the agent. I'm not an Alan Walsh guy. I don't know him from a hole in the ground, but the way he does business.
I like the transparency. I got to be honest. I do like being able to see, because I always say I try and be somewhat cautious, because we want people to say things. Don't just give us stock answers. And then when you come out, when people do come out and say something that is honest, then we crush them. I was like, don't crush them. See what they've got to say. See if there's something there. And I think there was something there, where here's a guy who was the highest scoring winger, and then wasn't playing on the wing. And is he getting there was something up with him and Lindholm. Daryl at the start of the year, well, Lindy's our best player and he gets to play with who he likes to play with. Very weird. And they never played together. You think about it, it's not as though they had lines that were just chugging right along. How could you break up these lines? There was no chemistry. I mean, Lindholm and Toffoli were fine, but still, The guy that had a career year on that side, there's an open spot on that top line. I don't know what the hell was going on. I just,
do you
if
think
people think that because Sutter's gone, it's fixed, they're sadly mistaken, which is why I just think if you have a chance to shake up something in that room and you've got all these contracts.
Do you think Scott Boras is good for baseball?
I mean, he's a great agent. Everybody gets paid.
But now he's
money.
But now he's forced himself into a lot of conversations about the game, and he's done an amazing job of making himself almost the third pillar. Right?
Yeah.
Players, owners, and Scott. And I think that's where Walsh wants to live. I think Walsh wants to be hockey's version of Scott Boras. God bless. He's a powerful guy. But he does, like somebody said, it's almost disingenuous for Marc-Andre Fleury or Derek Brassard or Jonathan Huberdeau to come out and go, "Hey guys, that's Alan. I don't know why he did that and everything. Sorry, that's the truth. Fire him. None of you guys fired him, right?"
If 8 times out of 10, management has to dislike the agent because all they're out to do is what's best for their player and get the most money.
Sure.
Is there maybe 2 times out of 10 where there's some value to them, where you can really know what's going on with your player? I just wonder if you were a general manager this year and you talk to Jonathan. He's like, "No, everything's fine. Oh, I'm just whatever." Can you then go to the agent and say, "Hey, listen, we got to make this work. What's going on?"
Absolutely.
With him.
And I have zero problems with agents. Actually, I think they're a very important part of it. My problem is this game we're playing with Alan Walsh. He gets upset for his client, and then his client comes out the next day and goes, "Oh, Alan, no. I never talked to Alan about that. Oh, no. Right? Bullshit. Come on, man up. I'm glad he did it. That's why I hired him. That's why he gets 13% or whatever I earn. That's why I pay him."
It happens though. Remember when Sam Bennett was here? We heard from his agent. He wasn't getting the ice time, wasn't playing center.
No, I get it. I get it. But, like I go back to the baseball equivalent of Scott Boras. Like, Boras has a manifesto. Have you ever heard of his manifesto? Like Scott Boras has an entire plan for baseball. Like, entire plan of restarting it and building it from the ground up. Like, he wants to own baseball. And that's okay. But what do you want out of this? And that's why I thought it was interesting last week when Don Maloney, I think it was an acknowledgement, public acknowledgement. Yeah. Eric DeHatchik said it. Peter Marr said it. Everybody said it without being prompted. Oh, did you hear that? He brought up the agents.
Yeah.
Right? Nothing wrong with it.
There again, if you're covering all your bases, I guess you talk to as many people as you can. You have every conversation.
No, you're doing your due diligence, right?
And I guess maybe in fairness to Don, he's not a puppet. Talk to the agent, glean from it what you would like, but have the conversation. So,
whose agent do you think he talked to? Or whose agents do you think he talked to?
Well, I would think he'd have to have talked to Alan Walsh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, but I don't think that would be oh my goodness. Well, here we are on May 1st, and I'm shocked to hear all of these revelations. I'm sure that they were very familiar. The Alan Walsh text and phone conversation line has been going all season.
He's got his own podcast, eh?
Yeah.
Have you ever talked to Alan?
Oh, it's been a while. We had him on the show.
Did you?
Yeah.
I don't think I ever did. I don't think I've ever.
I think a lot of these agents, they're lawyers, they're salesmen. They tap dance. Hey, how we do? Hey, what's going on?
I think the part of agents that never gets talked enough about is how much they're psychologists, how much they're big brothers, how much they're.
Which is why I think from a GM's perspective, if there could be some value,
absolutely.
if you're going to get the honesty, because truly, player, GM, agent, they all want the same thing to win. How do we get there? And I probably sometimes GMs are like, screw that. Why would I ever talk to that guy? Block his number. I don't know.
You know what you are? You're the greatest. You are the greatest.
I need an agent.
You need an agent.
Look where I got myself.
I'm a terrible. I came in today. I'm bitching at you because you won't text me back. I'm bitching at Gavin. I'm bitching at Jack. I'm bitching at everybody. And you know what you do? You read the room and you go, that guy needs a friend. I should sit down and tell him that's okay.
You're
the best.
I started doing that in 2007.
I understand it, but you've never stopped.
I would
You
walk
never
into
stopped.
I would walk into a room. It's like, Rob's having a bad day.
Yeah.
Let's turn this thing around.
around.
Let's do
I'll
this.
just sit with him and let him rant about
That's
Alan
right.
Walsh, and he feels so much better
Do
now.
you remember the day you asked me, why are you always so damn happy?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I come into the hot stove lounge at the
Yes.
Dome, and I got my coffee and I got my suit on. It's a game.
Yeah.
Here's all Rob working away. You got the
Grr,
black
and
coffee.
then there's grr.
It's
Right.
raining
Yeah,
on top of
raining,
Rob.
right. Yeah.
I'm whistling. How we do? Oh yeah, baby. Why are you so damn happy?
Yeah.
Come on, the sun's out and it's a game day and we're here and we're this.
I can't think. Apologies. It was not intended to do this. Friday was my 20-year anniversary.
Yeah.
20 years ago on May 5th, 2003, I started at 960.
Yeah.
And this has been like home, right? Like this is my home. This is what I do. This has been the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. The two biggest people that have had probably the most impact on my outlook in life were Joe Sports and you, because you guys both kept me from becoming that guy that lived his character. And I'm not, we play characters, right? We play characters. You're not the same guy here on the radio. That's right. I was really close to becoming a character.
It was one of the first real kind of things.
Yeah.
When I started working with you, because I was a hardcore listener prior.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is Rob Kerr. This is going to be.
Yeah.
And it's just, you were a long ways away from that.
Yeah. But you and Joe both played a huge role in making me a human being, because I was in danger of becoming that guy that believed he believed what he was. Did that make any sense? Like, I'm just a guy that does what I do, but I was in danger of beginning to believe my own headlines or whatever, really in danger of that. And it wasn't for you, I would have careered off and I would have been a complete jerk and I wouldn't have helped anybody. And I would have lived in solitude on a mountain and thought, well, they're not calling me because they're scared of my brilliance. And now I know that it's actually the opposite of that. So I'm forever indebted to you. And I was thinking about that on Friday, because the greatest thing that ever happened was coming here and meeting you guys. And even this is, it wasn't a great start today, but we turned it into an hour or something.
I think about because I mean, we don't need to have this conversation, but it shifted when you got there. We've told this story before, because it was the radio station that was there changed when you got there.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of being, we're done programming at 5 p.m., 6 p.m.
Oh, no, we're not.
Well, why? You started asking questions. Well, do we do call-ins after the game? No. Well, why? Do we do afternoon? Why? Why don't we have that? Why?
Yeah.
Well, I guess just do them. And then it just became, that's what you do at 960, because that's the way it's always been done. No, it's because that's what Rob started doing when he got there.
Yeah.
And we all worked our balls off because you worked your balls off, and that just became the way that station ran.
Yeah, but honest to God, boom, if it wasn't for you and Joe, I was in danger of believing my own headlines, and that wouldn't have been a good place to end up.
Well,
not that I'm perfect by any stretch. That's not what I'm saying, but you're right. You would come in. Why are you so damn happy? I don't get this, because you got to work. Get the prep done. All right, now, hey, how is everybody? I'm having a great day, right? And then the light goes off. Work, prep, right? And, if it wasn't for you, if it wasn't, taking that deep breath, and again, it's the Bruce Boudreau story, right? We're just sitting in there one day and Bruce comes walking by the door and he goes, "You guys okay? What? You have no window."
Windows in here.
There's no windows in here.
Do they make you come down here? Can't you go to the radio station?
Exactly.
What did you guys do?
Yeah, exactly. So thank you, buddy.
Well, buddy,
this was fun.
It was.
It was fun. I appreciate it.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, pal. I got to bring Ryan on. I just have to, because he needs to yell at me.
Well,
you know how that is.
Have fun with that.
I will.
Beautiful.
There you go. Dean Molberg, everybody. Boomer, you know him from Barn Burner every single frickin' day on this. Well, not Saturday and Sunday, but you know what I mean. All the time. They are the best, and you should listen to them.